Students, today we are discussing the femur topic, osteology. So already we have discussed about the hip bone. Hip bone already we have discussed. Now the second bone, it is the femur, the skeleton of the lower limb. So first of all you should know the identification of the bone. So it is a femur. Next is the type of the bone. Which type of the bone? It is a long bone. Long bone having the three parts. One is the upper end, this is the lower end, middle part is the shaft. So this is upper end, this is the lower end, middle part is the shaft. Now next, what are the parts? So upper end having the three parts are there mainly. So this is the head of the femur, this is the greater trochanter, this is the lesser trochanter. So head of the femur, greater trochanter, this is the lesser trochanter. This is a greater trochanter. Next, posteriorly we can identify the lesser trochanter is there. Next, this head is going to articulates with the hip bone. See, like this. It is going to articulates with the head of the femur, articulates with the hip bone to form a ball and socket variety of the synovial joint. Next is the neck is there. This is the constricted part. Consider having the superior border. Next is the inferior border is there. Next, this is the anterior surface, this is the posterior surface. So anterior surface is rough, posterior surface is the smooth. Next is the greater trochanter. This is the greater trochanter. It is a quadrangular in shape. It is having the superior border is there. The superior border having the apex. This is the superior border having the apex of the greater trochanter. Next is this is the anterior border. This is the posterior border. Next here surfaces are anterior surface, lateral surface. Next this surface is the medial surface. So anterior surface, lateral surface and medial surface is there. Next, what are the attachments of the greater trochanter? First is the apex of the greater trochanter. This is the apex of the greater trochanter for the insertion of the piriformis muscle. You know that piriformis muscle, it is a key muscle in the gluteal region that takes origin from the sacrum, but it is going to insert at the apex of the greater trochanter. Just below the apex, middle surface region, we can identify the three muscles insertion. One is the here above we can identify the superior gemellus and inferior gemellus. Between these two gemellus, tendinous insertion, that is the obturator internus muscle. So apex is for the insertion of the piriformis muscle. Just below we can identify the here superior gemellus, inferior gemellus, between tendinous insertion obturator internus. Next, below we can identify the trochanteric fossa. Trochanteric fossa for the insertion of the obturator externus. Obturator externus. Next is next here anterior surface of this greater trochanter for the insertion of the gluteus minimus muscle. Gluteus minimus, whereas the lateral surface for the insertion of the gluteus medius muscle. Next, posteriorly, if we go to downwards here below this lesser trochanter, we can identify here gluteal tuberosity for the insertion of the gluteus maximus. This is the gluteal tuberosity. It is for the insertion of the gluteus maximus muscle. So this is a greater trochanter. Next is we can identify posteriorly we can identify the lesser trochanter is there. This is the lesser trochanter. It is rounded conical projection towards here anteromedial posteromedial side. It is exactly medially towards the posteriorly we can identify the lesser trochanter is there. It is for the insertion of the three muscles, that is the floor of the femoral triangle muscles. One is where is the tip or the conical shape here for the insertion of the psoas major. Just below we can identify the iliacus. Next we can identify the pectineus muscle. So three muscles, floor of the femoral triangle muscle that going to insert at the lesser trochanter region. So this is very, very important at the time of the asking the examination, university examination, spotting. Sometimes we are keeping the shading here, which muscle is inserted here. Sometimes we are keeping here, which muscle is inserted. Identify the bone, side determination. Next is which muscle is inserted the shaded area. You should know anteriorly gluteus minimus, lateral side gluteus medius, posteriorly here tuberosity, gluteal tuberosity, gluteus maximus. Sometimes we can also expect in this question which muscle is inserted at the lesser trochanter region. So this is about the upper end of the femur. Next, and also shaft. Shaft is, it is somewhat, it is a conical and cylindrical in shape, whereas the middle region being narrow. When it goes to the downward, it is more expanded. When it goes to the upwards, see here, each shaft, if you make a 3 parts, middle 1/3, lower 1/3, upper 1/3. Upper 1/3 region we can identify the thigh region, femoral triangle. Middle 1/3 of the relation with the adductor canal, whereas the lower 1/3 popliteal fossa is there. So first we will discuss the middle 1/3. Here, see, it have the 3 borders and 3 surfaces. See, this is the middle 1/3 from here to here. It is having the, this is the medial border. This is the lateral border. It is a rounded borders are there. Whereas posteriorly we can identify linea aspera is there. Linea aspera. So now middle 1/3 of the shaft of the femur having the 3 borders. One is the lateral border. This is the medial border. This is the posterior border. It is also called the linea aspera. Linea aspera is nothing but a irregular line. This linea aspera form a posterior border. Automatically 3 borders separates into 3 surfaces. This is the anterior surface. This is the medial surface. This is the lateral surface. So anterior surface is present between the lateral border and medial border, whereas the middle surface, medial border, linea aspera, that is posterior border. Whereas here lateral surface having the between the lateral border and the linea aspera. So 3 surfaces, 3 borders are there. But when you go to the upper 1/3, it having the 4 borders and 4 surfaces are there. See, this is automatically lateral border is same, medial border is same. Okay. Now where it is changed, linea aspera, when it is going to the upper 1/3, this is splits like a 2 lips, like a, one is the lateral lip, another one is the medial lip is there. So medial lip and lateral lip. So automatically here 4 borders are there. One is here lateral border, medial border, whereas the linea aspera splits like a medial lip and lateral lip is there. Next, automatically we can also find in here the 4 surfaces. Next, whereas the lower 1/3 also we can identify here lateral border is there, continuation downwards as a epicondyle. Next, also here we can add medial border is there. Next, posteriorly this linea aspera again splits into 2 epicondyle lines. So lateral and medial and lateral epicondyle continuation is there. So here also we can identify the 4 surfaces, anterior surface and posterior surface. Posterior surface it is formed by the popliteal surface. Main important popliteal surface. This lower 1/3 form a floor of the popliteal fossa. Next, whereas the lower 1/3 is expanded, 2 condyles are there. See here, medial side medial condyle, lateral side lateral condyle is there. Medial condyle is always larger than the lateral condyle. So here these 2 condyles anteriorly, those 2 are fused together, and also we can identify the anterior surface having the articular surface. This is for the articulation with the patella to form the part of the hinge, part of the knee joint. Whereas posteriorly we can identify these 2 condyles are separated, intercondylar notch. It is called a intercondylar notch. Here 2 ligaments are attached, cruciate ligaments. One is the anterior cruciate ligament that takes origin from the tibia and going to that cruciate ligament, lateral condyle medial surface, whereas the posterior cruciate ligament, it attached posterior to the intercondylar area of the tibia and reach to the lateral surface of this medial condyle. So 2 cruciate ligaments cross each other. That's why that going to give the support to the knee joint anteroposteriorly. And also these 2 condyles inferiorly articulates with the tibia. See, these 2 condyles articulates with the tibia to form a knee joint. That is a compound joint and also hinge joint, hinge variety, and also condylar type. These 2 condyles are articulates with the condyles of the tibia to form a condylar variety. This is very important at the time of the locking and unlocking of the knee joint. Next is the here lower end, just posterior surface, here just above the epicondyle region, middle side and lateral side. Lateral head of the gastrocnemius in origin, whereas the middle side of epicondyle, here the middle head of the gastrocnemius takes origin. This gastrocnemius, lateral and middle heads of the gastrocnemius to make the boundary of the lower boundary of the popliteal fossa. Next, and also here this shaft having the middle 2/3 of the anterior surface for the origin of the vastus intermediate muscle. Vastus intermediate takes origin from this anterior surface 2/3. Remaining we won't identify the origin, but vastus lateralis, vastus medialis margin, it covers to lateral and middle surface, takes origin from the linea aspera. That's why we won't identify any origin from the anterior surface of the shaft of the femur. Now he knows the parts, attachments of the femur. Now anatomical position, how to hold, how to side determination also. So first of all, head of the femur always keep upwards. Next, lower end is expanded, that is condyles. Okay. Another thing is linea aspera always facing posteriorly, so it is always keeping the posteriorly. So this is belongs to the right side. Why? The head of the femur, okay, it is upwards, two condyles are downwards, but posterior surface, posterior border, linea aspera is posteriorly. If you are keeping like this, upper end is head is there, okay, lower end is condyles are there, but anteriorly linea aspera facing, it is wrong. So the always you keep like this, upper end is head is there, lower end is expands, and posteriorly we can identify the linea aspera. Now you keep, it is belongs to the right side. If I am keeping the left side, see, upper end is okay, lower end is okay, but head is facing lateral side. What I am statement is given, head is always facing towards the middle side, but it is facing to the lateral side. Remaining statement okay, linea aspera facing present posteriorly, condyles are lower end, head is there upper end, but head of the femur is facing lateral side. So that's why it is not belongs to the left side. If I am keeping this side, head is facing middle side, okay, lower end is expanded, posteriorly we can identify the linea aspera. This is the, it is belongs to the right side femur. Anatomical position, if you are asking, you keep like this, it is not a straight, it is obliquely placed, it is going towards the middle side, not a straight, not like this. If I am keeping like this, it is going, so always you keep like this, it is obliquely placed, lower end going towards the middle side. So this is the anatomical position of the femur. It is belongs to the right side. Okay, thank you.